Welcome to Diving-Head-First, and this week I'm going to show you how to make this bow pillow. I've seen a couple of no-sew ways to do this on YouTube, but I wanted to do a more permanent one. So this is a sewing one. So I use a sewing machine in this video, but if you don't have one, you can hand sew this. But it's still really simple. I just think that this is a little bit more fancier than doing the no-sew way. So yeah, let's get started. The supplies you will need for this project are about a half a yard of fabric, thread. You probably want to match it, but it's not the end of the world if it doesn't match. You'll be hiding most of the places where I'll be seen. Straight pins to hold everything in place. Hand sewing needle. Sorry, you can't really see it. I just didn't have any way other to display it. Fabric scissors, marker, and a ruler or a measuring tape, some way to measure. Additionally, I forgot to include an image of fiber fill or stuffing to fill your pillow. To start out, you need to cut your fabric into 3 pieces. 2 pieces that are 13 inches by 19 inches, and 1 piece that is 6 by 23 inches. Starting with your 2 13 by 9 inch pieces of fabric, you want to mark the center of your fabric. You want to make a line all the way down the center of your fabric. This line will be used as a guide later on. Once you have your center line drawn, measure out the center of that, and from your center marking, measure 1 inch out and mark, and then measure 2 inches out from that mark. Do that on both above and below your center mark. This will give you the 4 places that you're going to fold the fabric to give the bow extra little creases. Once all your lines are drawn, take your straight pins and you're going to just pinch at each of the marks and fold the fabric over, and then pin your fold in place, and do that for all 4 of the markings. Take your 6 by 23 inch piece of fabric, fold it in half so that the wrong side is facing out, and pin it in place. Now you're ready to start sewing. On your 13 by 19 pieces of fabric, you want to sew straight down that line, that center line that we marked earlier. This will hold all your folds in place. As you sew each of your folds, you can pull out the pins. Once you sew down both of your center lines on each of your 13 by 19 pieces of fabric, take your 6 by 23 piece of fabric that's folded in half and just sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, just sew down straight down the side. Now that you have everything sewed, we're going to iron everything. You don't have to. I did just because it makes everything pretty, and also I'm not the way that I store my fabric, it gets all wrinkled. Once you're done ironing, take your 2 13 by 19 pieces of fabric and place them together, right sides together, so that the wrong sides are facing outwards. And once they're lined up, pin them together on all sides, leaving about I leave about a 4 to 5 inch gap so that you have a space to pull it right side out and to fill it. Once you have it all pinned, you're ready to sew. I sewed it with about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but that is personal preference, whatever you're more comfortable with. Once you have it all sewed together, I like to cut the corners diagonally so that it reduces all the bulk in the corners when you turn it right side out, and you get nice clean corners. Now once you have your corners cut, you can turn your fabric right side out so you can start stuffing. As you're turning it right side out, make sure to push your corners out with your fingers. If you're having a hard time using your fingers, you could always use something like a pencil or something along those lines. Now it's right side out, you're ready to stuff it. I like to start with making sure that the fiber felt goes properly into the corners, and then I fill in from there. Just a handful at a time. Now that your pillow is completely stuffed, pin close the opening so that it will stay in place as you hand stitch it closed. I used a ladder stitch, but my hand stitching is really bad. So I'm just gonna link here the video that I used to learn how to do this stitch instead of showing you my really bad stitch. And now you're ready to put the center band on the pillow. Now this part is kind of like, how tight you do this is a matter of your personal preference. Once you get it your desired tightness, pin the band in place and fold over the ends, and then just use a whip stitch. Again, I'll leave a link to a tutorial on how to do that stitch. This one is visible, so if you haven't been using a matching thread, you might want to actually use a matching thread here, or at least as matching as you can get. This is the final pillow. I think it came out really cute. I actually made 2 of them so that my couch is balanced. But yeah, I really love this pillow. Besides the fact that it's also made out of my favorite fabric right now. But if you like this video, hit that like button. If you have any comments about it, leave a comment below. And of course, always please hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Okay, and I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.